What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Valorant lore video, and this time I will be sharing the story of the one and only Reyna. Trust me, Reyna's lore is a whole roller coaster of emotions, and I highly recommend you stick until the end where it gets really good. Reyna is the 11th agent to join the Valorant protocol as a duelist. She is a Radiant and she is from Mexico. While Reyna is with the Valorant protocol, it's oftentimes rather hard to conclude whether she's inherently good or a bad person. And the reason for this is because Reyna's Radiant abilities are reliant on one single source, souls. And the way to obtain these souls is by killing. Whenever Reyna kills someone, she can take that person's soul and devour it to regenerate her health, or use it to get a temporary period of invulnerability. While these abilities are incredibly strong and beneficial to Reyna, especially in the battlefield, they do come at a great cost. Because Reyna's Radiance relies on souls to function, this would mean that Reyna would potentially die if her supply of souls ran out. So it's like she's basically cursed with a never-ending need to kill in order to stay alive. And we do somewhat have evidence of this in the form of Reyna's voice lines where she says that she's hungry or how she's starving. I personally find her to be demonic in a sense, especially in her ultimate Empress, where she seems to be in a fit of rage, devouring soul after soul, and she even has a voice line crying out for more while laughing like a maniac. I don't know, she seems very unhinged in my opinion in many ways. Now, aside from the darker side of Reyna that I've just been discussing, there is also a side of hers that is just plain sad and unfortunate. And for those who know a bit of Reyna's lore already, you know I'm referring to Lucia, Reyna's little sister. But before I get into that, I want to talk to you guys about LagoFast. I'm sure we can all agree that there is absolutely nothing more annoying than lagging during your comp games. You're in an easy 1v1, you start to lag a bit, whiff your shots and lose a round, only to be called garbage by your teammates. And you already know, blaming it on lag is just not gonna fly. On screen, I'm gonna show you guys some gameplay and then show you my ping to show you what it looks like without LagoFast. As you can see, it's sitting within the 30 to 35 range, which isn't too bad, but it still could be much better. And this is gameplay with LagoFast, both boosting my FPS and reducing my ping. As you can see, this time my ping is hovering between 25 to 27, which is a pretty big difference. It's almost 10 less. LagoFast not only reduces lag in your games, but it also helps boost FPS and provides you with the best graphic settings and the ability to set your own custom crosshairs as a bonus. All you need to do is search LagoFast on Google, hit download for Windows, and then just follow the download instructions on screen and you're set. When you're on LagoFast and select the game that you want to play, in this case Valorant, just click on this bar here to select the region where you will get the best ping. For me, it's Illinois. And it estimates that I'll get around 25 ping, which is accurate as you saw in the previous gameplay. Also, just make sure you click on the FPS boost tab in the corner here, and just make sure that the tool is boosting your FPS because that does make a huge difference and it does help you in your games. Remember, LagoFast isn't limited to reducing lag, but it also helps boost FPS. So if you're someone who plays with low FPS, has lag issues, or both, then I strongly recommend you guys check them out. And don't forget that new users do get a 24-hour free trial, and after the trial, you can just use my personal code Nibble for 30% off, so don't miss out. Alrighty, back to the video. Reyna cares for Lucia like no one else, and she loves her little sister to death. Literally, and you'll see why. At some point in time, an event took place that we currently do not know about, which involved Lucia entering a critical state, to the point where she's now sitting on the edge of death. It's unknown what her condition is and why she is that way, but we do know that Viper is working together with Reyna to come up with a medical solution for Lucia. A quick fact about Viper's lore, if you don't already know, before Viper started experimenting with chemicals, toxins, and poison, she actually used to be a healer and practiced medicine. So that's why she's now helping Reyna out, because she does have that knowledge of medicine and she's able to potentially do something. But Viper can't heal Lucia with traditional medicine. She actually needs Reyna to go out and collect souls, bring them back to Viper, and then Viper takes those souls and converts them into life energy, as she calls it, over to Lucia. They have been doing this time and time again, and Lucia has not been getting better. But she also hasn't died, so whatever they're doing, it looks like it's just enough to keep her alive for the time being. It now makes you rethink Reyna going out and being hungry for souls. Sure, she needs the souls in order to stay alive herself, but in reality, it may just be that Reyna is really desperate to save her sister. Every kill that she gets, every soul she captures, it all goes towards saving her little sister. She even has a voice line saying, "For you, hermanita," targeted towards her little sister. It may explain why Reyna says she's starving too, as it could imply that she's giving herself the bare minimum and reserving the rest for her sister. Now I want to go back and actually talk about Lucia's condition because there are several theories that exist on what really happened. The first theory that makes quite a bit of sense is that Lucia has the same radiance and radiant powers as Reyna. She can devour souls for energy and health, which means that her own life is dependent on these souls in order to stay alive. This explains why Viper has Reyna going out and collecting souls for her to use. They probably just take the souls and give it to Lucia to devour and gain strength. Lucia probably has some sort of problem where she can't go out herself and collect these souls. Considering how she's on the brink of death, it may be that she just reached a certain point where she's too weak to go and collect the souls for herself. And despite Reyna bringing the souls to her, it's not enough to get her strong to the point where she can go and take care of herself. Even the souls that Reyna does bring to Viper to give to Lucia is said to be wasted for the most part, because the majority of the energy is lost during the transfer. And another theory on Lucia's condition comes from Killjoy, and this one requires a bit of backstory and explaining. It's theorized that at some point back when Killjoy was working for Kingdom Corporation, she developed some sort of technology which was then being used in a bad way, resulting in people getting harmed. And one of those people is said to be Lucia. In Killjoy's dossier, it's noted that she has had many technological breakthroughs where she just then handed them over without ever thinking about the consequences of it falling into the wrong hands, or if it's simply just misused. The dossier goes on to explain that her innovations have been proudly built by her, only to then be used in ways that she could never imagine. And it ends off with the idea that Killjoy is highly ignorant to the true pain that she may have caused with her inventions, and that her hands are more bloody than she could ever realize. Now, this is some dark shit, and you could argue that Killjoy only made her inventions, and whoever used them bad should be at fault. And it brings up an important dilemma in Valorant's lore, which we can see in everyday life too. Adding on to the theory of Killjoy potentially having a hand in Lucia's condition, is that Reyna is actually pretty hateful towards her. She strongly dislikes Killjoy, and it is said that the reason for this is because of her past having some sort of link to Lucia's condition. And Killjoy herself is confused and unaware of this. Okay, now shifting the focus back to Reyna's lore, we come to her lore story that doesn't yet exist, but has also already existed before. Confused? Well, you should be, especially if you haven't seen my video on KO's lore. In my video on KO's lore, I explain how KO is from an alternate universe in the future. In this universe, there has been a massive war that broke out between the Radiants and humans on Earth, known as the Radiant War. And the leader and supposed instigator of the war is none other than Reyna herself. We know that Reyna has really strong beliefs about the differences between Radiants and humans. She believes that Radiants are incredibly special and their abilities should never be restricted unless they choose to themselves, especially since humans discriminate against Radiants and treat them poorly. One example of this is how the Scions of Hourglass contained historical information on Abyss, which claimed that countless Radiant lives were taken in the past by them. And Neon is a good example of a Radiant who willingly restricts her powers, because she doesn't have control over it and she could cause unintentional harm. Because of these strong beliefs that Reyna has, it makes sense how she would rise up to eventually become the leader of the Radiants in the war. Reyna has even built a sanctuary for Radiants to protect them against Kingdom Corporation, who has had a history of conducting experiments on Radiants for scientific purposes. Now, this doesn't go to say that Reyna outright hates humans. She's mostly neutral towards them with targeted hatred on specific individuals, like KO who has come back in time to stop present-day Reyna, and Killjoy who is said to have harmed Lucia. There's even another theory that claims that what starts the entire buildup of the Radiant War is the eventual death of Reyna's sister Lucia, which pushes her off the edge and she blames the humans for it. And that right there would make an amazing show if Riot Games were to ever create one for Valorant. That's it on the lore for Reyna. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below with your own theories, and as always, thanks for watching.